Okay, today I'm going to explain how UFOs are actually operating. It's really pretty ingenious when you think about it. What they're doing, they're not actually going from point A to point B. They're going from point A to point B to point C because they're using Tesla's 369. 369 is manifestation, unmanifestation, and the neutral point in between. That's how they're using this. What they're doing, they're setting up one of these. They're setting up a funnel or a drain into counter space. You have two dimensions. You have space and you have counter space. When you're seeing something like that, that's in space. When it disappears, it goes to counter space. When it comes back, it comes out of the funnel of counter space and back into space, and then you see it again. It's that simple. They're not going from point A to point B. They don't travel like that because they're actually being pulled into the vacuum. They're setting up a condition to where they can be pulled into the funnel. This is how they're doing it. The Earth is a giant spinning magnet. Everything is stuck to the Earth just like this, including you and all the cars and all the trees and all the buildings. You're stuck to the Earth like this because magnetism is the glue and the binder that hold everything together. And the magnetism always wants to pull towards counter space. This is what it's doing. Every magnet at the center of it is where the counter space is. It's the dielectric point in the magnet. So when magnets are attracted to each other, they're really not operating how you think they're operating. You only see the phenomenon of magnetic attraction occurring. What's actually happening is that when the magnets are in space, they're setting up a condition or a field around them in the ether. This one's doing the same thing, this one's doing the same thing. What they want to do is pull toward the funnel of counter space. So it's not really magnetic attraction, it's just pulling to this lowest point in counter space, which is the part of the drain in the center. So these craft are able to set up the condition by using electromagnetism as this. They're setting up an electromagnetic bubble or electromagnetic bottle around the craft. Now, you can do this two ways to achieve what they're doing. A, you can use high voltage electricity, or B, you can spin something super fast to where it breaks any kind of pull that the Earth or any other large mass has on it. And then it becomes independent. This is what Otis T. Carr found out with his saucers. So when Bob Lazar was at Area 51, and he said that the craft fly by means of field propulsion, he was 100% correct. But he didn't tell you what kind of field propulsion that it is. And it's not really propulsion. It's magnetic field propulsion, or dielectric field propulsion. That's what it's technically called. What it's doing, it's setting up this condition here. This is the craft. It's moving just like an AC sine wave, like I said in the beginning. An AC sine wave is always operating in two conditions. It's always operating in space and counter space simultaneously. The craft is setting up a wave, or a well, a dip, just like an AC sine wave. It's setting up a dip in the field. and it's actually being pulled to that point by the vacuum. It's just like going down the drain. This is an AC sine wave. It's doing the same thing. It's doing the same kind of curve. This is matter. This is the 0 point. This is counter space. This is the drain. This is the material plane. It's going from the material plane to the middle to the counter space drain back to the material. A to B to C. 3, 6, 9. That simple. What my spinning delta T Merkaba double tetrahedron is doing is this overlapping W pattern. What it is, it's a polarity flip. It's flipping polarity, just like the universe. The universe is flipping polarity at over 1 trillion times per second. What they're able to do is figure out the timing on when to jump in, just like on jumping rope. When you're jumping rope and you want to jump into the rope while it's already swinging. It's the same thing. They're finding that little niche where they can get in. It's the same thing that a synchronous AC motor is doing, or a synchronous condenser on a power line. It's doing the same thing. It's pulling in from the vacuum to get its energy. And it's finding the niche in between the jog of the AC cycle to where it starts getting filled and filled and filled with more magnetism on the line because it's pulling it in. They figured all this out because it's all about timing and velocity and power and rotation. This is how it's working. It's really that simple. The UFO is just being pulled into the drain, the counter space, and reappearing, just like going into a black hole and reappearing out the end of a white hole. That's all it's doing. They just figured it out. They must have more accurate ways of measuring time than we do. But they're jumping from time into a 0 point into no time. And then back to time. That's how it's working. Thanks.